Over the last year, Monday.com has rebuilt itself around AI. AI agents, Monday Vibe, Sidekick, AI Notetaker. There's a lot of different features that Monday has released. In this video, I want to share with you my honest take on all of these AI features. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tara. I actually have been using Monday.com since 2015. So over the last 11 years, I've really had a chance to dive deep into Monday. I've tested all of the features and used them. Above that, about 4 years ago, I started my company Simple Day. We're currently Monday.com Platinum Partners. We've helped hundreds of companies use Monday. What that means is that we do custom implementations. So let's say a company doesn't know how to use Monday or doesn't know how to set up their workflows. We do that for them. But what that means for the sake of this video is that we're deep into Monday. We test out all the features and we actually implement them for our clients. And in this video, I want to share with you my honest take on all of the newest AI features. First, I want to be clear about what Monday AI actually is, because it's not just one thing. Monday has a lot of different features like Sidekick, AI Notetaker, AI Workflows, AI Blocks, Monday Vibe, and Monday Agents. Now, here's the thing. These things are not free. You're paying for them on top of your subscription. So they're actually costing you money. And the question is that cost worth it? And that's something that I personally am constantly evaluating. Are you getting enough value out of these AI features to make it worth the cost? Because it's not cheap. I want to start out with the two AI features that I think are definitely worth their value. The first is AI columns. So essentially what that means is that you can have an AI column on your board and it can do different things for you. So one thing that it can do is it can extract data from one column to another one, or it can pull information. So one example that we actually use on our boards, on our leads board, we have first name and last name. But then when we do sequences like email campaigns, I only want the first name. So I have another column that's an AI column that automatically pulls the first name into another column. It's pretty straightforward and pretty easy, but it's almost 100% correct all of the time. So I know that I can really rely on it. Another example of different AI columns that you can use is you can automatically assign someone based on some information. So for example, let's just go back to our leads board. If you're working in different areas, which a lot of companies we've worked with have different geographical zones where their team is working. So let's say that the address lists a certain zip code or a certain area, it automatically assigns the sales rep based on that. These are pretty straightforward, a prompt and then do something based on that. But I found that these work really well. The second AI feature that I think works really well is the AI workflows. It's similar to the columns in that it does something very straightforward. You tell it to do this and it does that, but it's just built within your workflows. So those two, I think, are definitely worthwhile. Now, the two features that I think are kind of like a mixed bag, and I'm not sure if they're worthwhile in all honesty, is Monday Sidekick and the AI Notetaker. Let's start with the AI Notetaker. Personally, I love the fact that it automatically adds everything within Monday. So I don't need to log into another tool to get the transcripts of my calls or to see the information. And I can also build workflows on it. So I can have something like when a meeting has been completed, automatically create tasks on it. I think that's an amazing, amazing feature. I do question the price. I do think it is rather expensive compared to other tools. And for me, it's not always worth it for my company to pay for that tool. So I think there's pros and cons of the AI Notetaker, and it's something you should evaluate. The next thing is Sidekick. I think Sidekick has a tremendous amount of potential. It's basically like your AI assistant directly within Monday. I've just seen mixed results with it. Sometimes it's really, really accurate and it's really helpful, and sometimes it hasn't been as accurate. Now, it could be that that's based on my prompt that I'm using, that I'm not giving a good enough prompt for it. But if it's like an AI assistant, I kind of want it to understand what's going on. Now, again, maybe that means that I also need to write directions for Sidekick and it will always refer refer to those directions. So I guess I would say that it needs further testing. I will tell you one of the limitations about Sidekick that I've seen is that it can't read complicated formula columns with connected board columns, and it's limited in the number of boards that it can connect to. So for me, that's a huge limitation because I'm using a lot of different boards and I want my AI assistant to be able to use and see all of those boards. Additionally, we have very complicated boards. I have a lot of formula columns and a lot of connected board columns, which I think is the right way to set up Monday so you have one source of truth. That's a whole different topic for another video. But I want Monday to be able to use these basic features. In my mind, being able to pull formulas from connected board columns should be a basic feature. Unfortunately, it's not something that Sidekick can access right now. So I hope that it gets there, but these two are kind of like in a mixed bag. Now I want to address the two different features that I'm more hesitant about. So I want to just explain to you the way that I've seen Monday work for their feature releases. Essentially, when they release something, they release it in an alpha stage, then a beta stage, and they see what the feedback is. And if they get good feedback, they continue releasing it. But they don't build out all the features beforehand. They build it once it's released. So keep that in mind because a lot of features that are first released, they're pretty basic. And as time goes on, they add more and more features and it gets better and better. So what I'm saying doesn't mean that these features are bad or I wouldn't recommend them. It just means that I think a lot of them are at the beginning stages and there's a lot of room to grow. So the first is Monday Vibe. I think Monday Vibe is an amazing, amazing idea. You get the option to build out an app directly within Monday. Like I've heard from so many different people, they don't like the layout or they want this specific thing. And now they have the option to build it directly in Vibe. Personally, what I've seen, if you're building a straightforward Vibe, it works well. It's worth the money, I think, to have the Vibe because you have everything directly within Monday. It has your data right there. If you have a really complicated Vibe, that's where I've seen some issues. So the first issue to note is that if your Vibe needs to connect to a lot of boards, there's limitations there. Monday recently advertised that it's up to 5 boards. I think that I heard that it was 20 boards. So I'm not sure exactly what it is, but that's a limitation. If you want Vibe to connect to a lot of different boards, that's a limitation for you. The other limitation is what it can actually see. So in my setup, I have a lot of formula columns and I mirror a lot of boards because I have a lot of connected board columns. So let's take, for example, my revenue board, right? I have a revenue board tracking revenue from all of my different clients. Now, it pulls data from other boards, like how many hours we actually spent for the client, or it pulls from the CRM board what we're supposed to be charging them because I don't want to have two different sources of truth. So I find that Monday Vibe has a hard time pulling from connected board columns, complicated mirror columns with formulas in them. As I said, though, I think that Monday Vibe is a newer product and at actually a very fast pace, they're releasing a lot of new features. So I think it's going to get there and I think it's an amazing feature to have. I think you need to decide if it makes sense for you right now. I've also seen people have really complicated vibes and unfortunately they felt, and this was my clients, they just felt that it wasn't reliable enough. So make sure that you fully tested your vibe if you're using it. The second thing that I want to talk about is Monday Agents. Now, Monday Agents were just recently released. So again, it's the same principle. They just released it. They're still building the features. I think it's going to get better and better. At this point, I haven't seen so many things that the AI agents do that I can't do with AI workflows or automations, but I think that's going to change. There definitely are some simple, straightforward things that you can use AI agents for that you can't use other things. But again, I would want to give it more time to build out. So I guess in summary, the most important thing to look at is, do these AI features do what you need? And is it worth the cost? You need to understand what the cost is and if what they're doing is reliable for you. My honest take is that some things are definitely worthwhile and the cost is justified. And some things we need to wait until Monday fully builds out those features. Again, if you're using it on a very basic level, they're probably really good. But if you have a really complicated setup, I would potentially wait or see how else you can build them. So, like, for example, I've been doing a lot of building within Claude and I just connect that to Monday. I just find it to be more reliable. In summary, I would say test out the features, see how much they're going to cost you, and then you need to evaluate if they're going to be worth it for you or not. I'll see you in the next video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and remember to subscribe to receive tips and tricks on how to use Monday.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.